What's up, Floater Gang? Welcome to another episode. We are going to do our quarter awards, giving out some NBA awards to some players, coaches, just a quarter way through the season. These should be fun. We're going to get started with our tragic Bronson award, basically our Shaq No Fool award. Valentine, who is your candidate? Who are you awarding the tragic Bronson award to this far into the season?
I'm gonna award it to no other than Draymond Green. He's suspended for the season.
Well,
Uh,
no, he's indefinite.
or indefinitely
Definitely.
suspended. If Shaq and Fool was still a thing, he'd be all over it. Throwing it out of bounds in the clutch when they need it most. He just can't find his players. We saw it this season already a couple times. We saw it last season. He's just not clutch at all. Swinging elbows at people, putting people in chokeholds. It's just memes left and right about him. I don't think there's much more to add to that. He's just a meme right now.
I mean,
As two Thunder fans, and he can actually wear a nice throwback Sonics jersey before the Thunder ever were. I think you guys have been pretty happy to have Draymond Green as one of the most valuable players on the opposing team for you.
for sure.
So I think you'd agree with this award.
Besides Shea, he's probably gifted us the most wins this year. Obviously he threw it away in the clutch during the fourth time we played the Warriors. We played
Second overtime.
quite a bit, yeah. And then obviously he goaltended on the Curry game winner. Obviously it was overturned, but wrongfully so. And then he fouled Chet on that three to tie the game. He's been really clutch for OKC, and I'm glad to have him on the squad. So, yeah, no doubt he's the tragic Bronson
Yeah, I think
winner.
honestly, I think at this point it's time for him to start joining the NFL. I mean, he's literally tackling people on the basketball court.
I saw that with Terrence
He's
Mann.
putting people in chokehold. I feel like the environment he plays with is more of a football environment, anyways. And tackling. That's literally just football. Why are you tackling people on a hardwood? You might as well, if you're suspended indefinitely, you might as well see if you can get a contract in the NFL.
Some of the things he's doing would get him suspended in the NFL. So
for a whole
Oh,
season.
yeah.
That's saying something, but he seems like he wants to go like the UFC route, like chokeholds, like he wants to tap out. He's throwing punches. He does seem a little bit bad at that because he's not really get tap out, get the knockout punch either on Nurkic. So he might need some work if he's trying to join the UFC. But I think by next season he might be ready.
Yeah.
Oh, I have another candidate.
He might.
I forgot his name. The Pacers guy that flipped Giannis.
Oh, Aaron Neesmith?
Aaron Neesmith. What a tackle against Giannis Antetokounmpo after a 64-point game, and then the Pacers ran away with the ball.
Yeah.
That was a nice Shaq and Fool game, I guess.
Yeah.
But that's it.
Started a Shaq and a Fool streak for the Pacers.
And then proceeded out by the Wizards. I think karma hit the Pacers a little bit the game after as well.
Yeah.
So it was fun. But I think we're agreed on our overall winner, Draymond Green. And that brings us to our next award, the Isaiah Thomas Award. This is not the Pistons Isaiah Thomas, the Celtics Isaiah Thomas at I think 5'9", one of my favorite players all time. This is kind of like an under the radar award or a surprising player award, as he was fourth in MVP voting that 1 year with the Celtics, and before that he was all over the NBA on some squads and no one really knew about him. So let us get started. I'm going to go with Marvin. Who is your Isaiah Thomas candidate? Who would you like to award that award to?
My Isaiah Thomas candidate is actually on the Celtics. Derek White. He's been fantastic this season. Low-key, one of the most impactful player on the team, especially with the numbers he's putting up too. I swear every time or almost every time I check the box score, he has at least 20 points, 7 rebounds, 7 assists, at least a steal and a block. He's just fantastic, doing everything the Celtics need him to, from scoring, rebounding, passing, defense. If you need someone to do something, he'll do it.
Yeah, he's a fantasy darling. I wish I had him in the squad. I do not like playing against him. I was listening to the other day a podcast, the JJ Reddick one, where he had Chris Stapps on, and Chris was talking about too about Derek White. He's just crazy to play around because he just consistently he does the right things. You can rely on him because he'll do the right things in the game, and that's so important for any team, even for stars as talented as a lot of them are, putting up 25-point games, 30-point games. They don't always make the right decision, and that's kind of one thing that some people they love LeBron for, but Derek White is definitely one of those guys that will do the right thing.
I mean, I saw this post the other day, and someone was arguing Derek White was better than Dame, which is, by the way, ridiculous. But the fact that we're even having those conversations just speaks volumes to Derek White. So shout out Derek White. I'll go with my candidate.
Shout out, sorry, I want to give one more shout out to Derek White.
Go ahead.
42%, almost 43% 3-point shooter this season. That's not something he's like, I feel like well known around around the league for his 3-point shooting, but he's deadly. So keep an eye on him. Do not sleep on his shooting. But yeah, he's amazing. Deacon, your candidate,
Well, so I have another black-white person. That didn't really work, but Kobe White is who I'm going with. The Bulls in general, since Zach LaVine started sitting out, have been one of my favorite teams to watch. Kobe White doing his thing, DeMar obviously doing his thing. Everyone's getting a little more involved. It feels like it's a cohesive, fun team. And Kobe White is leading that charge. He's averaging over 20 points per game, over 50% from the field, over 50% from three since Zach LaVine sat out. Obviously, I want to see a bigger sample size because it's only been like 10 or so games.
Which is
his three is 43% almost. He's 0.1 behind Derek White for the season on almost over 7.5 attempts.
Yeah, he has been really, really good. And I think we all at least myself, the past couple of years, I was always waiting for the Derek White leap, and it just never came. I kind of tempered my expectations this year. Expected more of the same, but he has been so good. And he's finally in the featured role. And I think it makes Zach LaVine expendable, and I think that's what's happening.
Yeah,
and for most improved player award, he might be up there. He's getting 8 more points per game than last season, which, by the way, was his lowest season average last season. Before that, he had better season, almost twice as many assists, like a whole nother rebound extra. Like right now he's looking really good. The Bulls have had a weird season, but all the better for Kobe White.
Yeah, and I even said last week to you guys too that to me he's more of a shooting guard because he doesn't pass much or whatever. But that one game against the Heat a few days ago almost had a triple double with the rebound, so he did have that double-digit assist. Was getting boards too. So I mean, he's showing me too that he's a different player than I thought he was. I've never really thought he was all that much except for a shooter. But this season he's doing everything, including shooting.
Yeah.
So he's been fantastic.
And his defense has been underrated as well. I mean, it's not top tier or anything, but
it's not very
he used to be played off the court at times with his defense, or just taken advantage of. They would kind of put him on an island. But this year he's been holding his own.
The Heat are I'm just gonna say that.
Well, Bam's been out for the last 2 weeks.
They've been kind of getting cooked by certain guys, like the guy that I have, but we'll get to him later.
I think you're up.
Tell us, what is he?
Okay.
Let's go.
Who is he?
First time, Terry Rozier. So I'll just talk about the Miami games that he had. The most recent one, 28 points, 10 for 14 field goals, 5 for 6 threes, and then he had 7 assists and 3 rebounds with 4 steals.
Oh, that's true.
He cooked the Heat that game. They lost, but it's the Hornets. What do you expect? Let's be honest. The other game they also lost, but he had 34 points, 10 for 17, 8 for 13 threes, and he had 13 assists. That is one of his career high. He tied it again with this season. He just keeps proving everyone wrong. He's had how many 30-point games?
Future starting point guard.
He's had 3 or 4, which is a big improvement for him. And 2 13-plus assist games. And he's shooting at a pretty high consistency rate.
Yeah.
So, shout out Terry Rozier.
Yeah. We had an argument before we started the podcast. They were saying Terry Rozier, top 5 shooting guard. And at the time, I was like, what are they talking about? And I mean, I don't think I appreciated what Terry Rozier is doing this season. We looked at his PER, and he's 6th right now among shooting guards. Obviously, his stats are really good. He's always been a pesky defender. Obviously, he's the number 1 option right now, so I don't think on a contending team he'd be doing this, but I think he's showing that he can score efficiently and he can score in bunches. He's kind of showing flashes back to the Celtics days, where he was the number 2 option for Eastern Conference Finals team.
And again, Celtics, Isaiah Thomas, bro, is just meant to be.
I guess Kobe White.
Speaking of, obviously Celtics fit didn't work. he was young back then, right? That was his first team. They played with the like that. This was 5 years ago. Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum, young guys.
Yeah.
And he only got 10 points. The highest ever average was 11 points per game with the Celtics. So he wasn't, people knew how good he was. He's been averaging around 20 points per game since he's been with the Hornets. Like no one knows this because it's the Hornets, right? Like Kristaps, he was in the Wizards last season. He had arguably his best career season with the Wizards. Nobody knows this because it was the Wizards. And now he's on the Celtics, like showing like right, they're a big contending team in large part because they got Kristaps. And I feel like Rozier could be the similar kind of guy. He's played point guard before. He's an amazing playmaker, as Valerie pointed out. One of the best shooting guards in the league. I feel like this should be a free agent that a team like the Spurs, where he would not be a contender, or any other team that needs that kind of a player. Potentially, actually, a Lakers type of a team. I don't know. We should try to land. I just threw that one out, but should try to land Terry Rozier. He is so valuable defensively wise, shooting wise, dribbling wise, even like finishing. Like he's so good. I feel like he could provide so much value to any team. And he just so yeah. He was in my top 5 underrated. I'm pretty sure I had him in there. I hope I did, but with a reason. He's awesome. I support that.
To correct myself, he's had 3 13-assist games, which is absurd.
Yeah.
While scoring like 25 plus in those games.
Love him. I'm a big fan. I'm gonna go to my award candidate. This was not as surprising. I give this award just because of how much he's overachieved. And I've already been a huge fan. Maybe because I overrated him beforehand, but it turns out I was underrating him. Tyrese Halliburton I'm giving the Isaiah Thomas award. I was hoping he would be good. I knew the Pacers had the potential, and he's just blowing everyone's mind out of the water. Like the things he's doing, the efficiency he's doing. Like right now, he's playing like better in I think almost every statistical category than Steve Nash's MVP season, which no, he didn't deserve that MVP. Not gonna lie, but Tyrese Halliburton has been insane. He's just been insane. The Pacers are looking like a completely next level team, a very legit team. We talked about last time. Hopefully they get some defense, but that's another issue. But Tyrese Halliburton is my candidate for the Isaiah Thomas Award.
Yeah. I don't want to sound like a hater, but I was expecting him to have a big season. You know, we saw him on the Kings. He was doing really good. He came to the Pacers. He was bringing a lot of talent. I was expecting him to take a big step again this season. You know, you're talking about having a big year. So was Miles Turner. So I feel like he's not as surprising as like Derek White or how Terry Rozier's been the last couple of games without LaMelo Ball, but he's definitely still surprised a lot of people, I think, with how he's been playing and being in the MVP race.
Yeah. I mean, I expected a leap as well, but like you said, Lauren, just not to this magnitude. I mean, he's averaging like 25 and 12 assists. It's insane.
Yeah.
Yeah, and even when we did our early season predictions before the season, Lauren had Halliburton as MVP, and I thought it was like I loved the take, but I thought it was crazy. But now it's like I don't think he's gonna win it, but it's a lot more realistic in the sense of he's definitely up there. Like I said, I don't think he'll win it, but he's gonna fight for it.
That Pacers team in general is pretty frustrating, but
yeah.
But Tyrese has been the brightest of spots.
81% field goal percentage as a point guard, dude. Come on, bro. On 8.4 3-point attempts, and you're getting over 50% field goals. You're getting like a center power forward field goal percentage, dude. 43.5 3-point percentage on that many attempts as the guy. He's never gone below 40%. Like he's doing those superstar things. Right? I hate to bring up Trae Young, but he's just a perfect example, right? Those guys, like they're amazing. But the efficiency isn't always there, and that's fine. But like Tyrese Halliburton's putting up these crazy numbers in the most efficient way possible. Like the amount of he had the first like 0 turnover games, like 25 points and 10 assists, something like that. I don't remember the stat exactly, but he's doing this efficiently on the assist playmaking wise. He's not turning over the ball and the shooting. He's doing both so efficiently, so well. I gotta give him his flowers. I had to put him here. But I think enough said on this award. We're gonna go to our next fun award. A man that is no longer in the NBA. He's on the G League, but we named an award after him. Tony Snell Award. Basically, kind of player that has the most impact on their team, while the stat sheet may not exactly show that. I want to, Deacon, who is your Tony Snell Award candidate?
So my guy, he's also 6 Man of the Year candidate. It's Isaiah Joe, the league leader in plus minus, shooting above 40% from three. Obviously, we know that's his MO. He's a sharpshooter from three, but he plays every role, I feel, on that Thunder offense and defense so well, and he fits so well with Shea. Because when Shea is on the floor with Isaiah Joe, his efficiency goes up, his numbers go up, everything goes up. I think he's just a perfect complementary to just what the team is trying to do in general. He's a great defender. I mean, he just fits so well in the offense. I think he deserves more praise than he's getting, and I think his impact is beyond what the numbers show. His numbers are still solid.
Yeah,
but I love what I'm seeing from Isaiah Joe this year as a Thunder fan. I may be a little bit of a biased pick, but I don't care.
I agree with it anyway.
Yeah, Isaiah Joe's one of my favorite players on the Thunder, if not my favorite player. We went to a Thunder game against Sixers a little bit ago, and I was very, very disappointed by how he played when I showed up. I think he missed like 11 three-pointers.
I think it was like 3 for 12.
Yeah, it was pretty bad. But the game before that, I think he was like 7 for 7. So
or a few games before that
against
the Warriors, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's definitely one of the best shooters in the league.
Yeah,
but his impact is crazy too because his defense is actually pretty solid, and I mean he doesn't obviously he's a shooter, so he's not going to pass too much or do much, but he can even get rebounds and pass the ball too and be that kind of guy too. So he can change his role a little bit too based off what the Thunder need, but obviously have plenty of guards, so he can basically stay the shooter all the time.
I'm gonna be honest with you. I think he has a lot of potential, a lot higher ceiling than what we're seeing right now. I think his ball handling is actually really good.
Yeah.
He will show that true talent, I hope, soon. So we can really see like the full Isaiah Joe. I feel like we're still missing out on a couple of things that he hasn't shown us yet. And I think he will show soon.
Yeah. Obviously, he still closes with the Thunder. He doesn't start, obviously, but he's always in those closing lineups. Yeah. So I think, we don't know what's going on with Giddey, but I think someday he'll be inserted into that starting lineup, and that's when he'll truly start to get his true credit.
I want to make a really, really big point here. I think that's critical to make. And he has the best plus minus in the league.
Yeah.
And he's coming off the bench.
Yeah.
Right. So normally a lot of guys that have good plus minuses, right? You're going to get theoretically, you're going to have a better plus minus if you're with the starters because you've got better guys around you, etc. He's coming off the bench and managing to have that big of an impact. And we talk about, you hear NBA players talk about how important it is to have, when it comes to playoff times, you need to have a guy off the bench that can either keep your team afloat or kind of bring that energy. You definitely don't want to really downgrade too much with your bench. They want to keep your team alive. And he has the best plus minus in the league. That is big time, big time, big time.
Yeah.
Just want to point that out.
All right, I can do mine. Honestly, at first I had a tough time. Then I found a few players. So now it's a little tougher. But I'm actually gonna go with Keon Ellis. He's one of the backup guards for the Kings. He I think is a really good Tony Snell award, also true just because of the numbers. He doesn't get very many numbers, but he's been honestly a key player for them when he does play. He doesn't always play just due to who's injured or not, but when he does play, he has a plus minus of 1.8 in 13 and a half minutes, which is pretty good. Like I said, he doesn't really get any numbers, and I think a lot of people probably don't even really know his name either. But I think he's honestly a bigger piece in that team as well than most people realize, just due to the impact he has on that team. Also, obviously coming off the bench, not even playing much minutes, but still having that positive impact at the guard position off the bench. I think that's really hard to do, especially with the limited minutes that he gets.
Yeah, he can knock down those open threes. He's one of the better perimeter defenders on the Kings. He's one of the players that I did not expect to get minutes this year, but he's been getting pretty steady minutes.
I didn't really know much about him either, but then I saw him play. Comps talking about a little bit, and I was like, he's actually kind of. He can be pretty pesty on defense too.
I mean,
He's fun to watch.
he's one of those guys that the Kings didn't really have last year. Another stopper besides Davion Mitchell.
That's true.
And I think that's a clutch pickup for the Kings. I mean, diamond in the rough for sure.
Those are good. I think we're gonna move on to our next award. Those are our Tony Snell candidates. And our next one is it's like a team selection award. It is the meme team. We're gonna start off with our point guard. I think our point guard is gonna be, well, it could be two people, I guess. It could be Jordan Poole or Josh Giddey.
Yeah.
Those are our two guards. Then we got our small forward, Klay Thompson, and our power forward slash center. We got two of them, Zion Williamson and Draymond Green. That is the meme team of the season. Josh Giddey has had fun times with people that are not quite of his age.
It's a good way of putting it.
There with some.
And that's the best word you can use here. And Zion
Jordan Poole, the Poole.
Zion likes to eat a little more than he should.
And then not work out afterwards.
And he's had his own fun times over the summer, apparently.
That's
too.
true.
That's true. Whether they were true or not, who knows?
They
But
were fun times for him.
Draymond has temper tantrums.
Like we said, he won tragic Bronson.
He is tragic Bronson, so
So
shout out to him.
Klay Thompson is he's been shooting a lot of bricks. There was a lot of we were seeing a lot of this last season, and this now seems to be his field goal percentage half the time. He's shooting a lot of bricks. He's definitely, we said last time, he might just be the moist son at this point, not one of the Splash Brothers. he's not really been him. He's probably gonna get traded. The Warriors are a lot of doo-doo. They are not at all what they used to be, one of the best offensive teams in the league. Instead, they just have a bunch of guys getting paid $50 million and don't know how to play basketball. So it's some good times over there. Klay Thompson's a big part of that.
And what we saw him turn down a 2-year, $48 million contract.
2 year for he fumbled the bag. I mean that's meme team, very meme team of him to just fumble that bag and now just have a horrible team.
We still love them all. We still love them all, even after what they've done.
Well, maybe not Josh.
yeah,
But
Josh is
we love the rest of them though.
I've never really cared for Jordan Poole, and I would say dry Poole too.
Jordan Poole, yeah, the
pool
pool is
there
dry.
anymore.
The pool party is not very fun in a dry pool. I guess I can get some skateboarders in there or something like that. I mean, it's a wizard, so
we still
good
love
times.
them.
Yeah. Well, we
Let's
root for them to succeed. Except for
Yes.
Josh.
Well, not. I mean, I'm rooting for him to succeed on the court. Maybe a different way off the court.
I don't root for Draymond either, personally. Not gonna lie, I have not rooted for that guy all
Draymond's
the
a
time.
cool guy.
Off the court.
Off the
Dude,
court.
Draymond Green is the most ironic. Here, Draymond Green, if you're by any chance ever listening to this, you make no sense. Because here's always his reasoning. He's like when you got stepped on by Sabonis, he was like, yeah, my son watches basketball. What am I gonna tell my son? I got stepped on? All right, by your logic, so you think it's right to teach your son to go swing fists and go fight people? I don't want to I don't know how you grew up, nothing like that. But I don't think, I mean, I'm not okay. I don't have a son or anything like that. I just don't think it's the right thing to be teaching your kid to if that's your logic, right? I'm not saying you're trying to teach him that. I don't know what you're trying to teach him, but if that's your logic of what you're trying to teach him on the court, I think you do a bad job. Putting people in chokeholds, throwing punches at people.
We also don't know what they say to Draymond. Like they could be saying,
That's exactly my point, though. But and some people will disagree. I know people will disagree with me because I know lots of people are like, well, if you say that, I'm gonna throw hands at you. But on a professional level and even just in general, I don't think it's the right thing. Just because, be a man, walk it off. Have thick skin. Don't be your Nurkic's on you and you go, oh, and you're throwing that's weak. That's soft. That's weak. Be a man, have some thick skin. I know your coach. He was his coach. I know
I
he's
think it's a little different if he's disrespecting your family or calling you certain names to a certain
Okay, for one, that was clearly not the case. And two, then go turn around and talk to him like a man. And tell him, hey, yo, you better stop.
Or talk to him after the game or something. I mean,
Nurkic was behind him, kind of holding him, and then he didn't like that he was being touched on the back. If he had flopped while punching him, that's not a tough man move. If you being disrespected, you turn around, you talk to him, be tough then, Draymond. But it's always these petty things. Like when it's a bonus there, he has like half hold his leg. It's always these super petty things. Like, come on, dude. That's petty. Like
I think
if you want to show your son that you're tough, like be a man, stand up for yourself, that's different. Then stand up for yourself like a man. Don't be petty.
well, that's why the NBA suspended him because I mean they can't condone a guy like Draymond doing what Draymond does.
Exactly.
And obviously, I think he's a really cool guy off the court. I think he's always shouting out the young guys. He's always providing good advice and support. And his podcast is fun to listen to. But yeah, he can't just be swinging his arms around.
You can't be UFC fighting on the basketball court.
Yeah.
Man, I think the counseling will be good for him. I just think he gets too caught up when he gets emotional. Like he's a competitor that brought him to the NBA. He's won 4 championships. He's competitive, but you can't lose sight of what you want to be, who you want to be as a competitor. And then he seems to consistently defend it, and that's my issue with it. Don't defend it. Like stand up and like say, yeah, that was wrong of me. But he consistently through his entire career defends these acts like they're justified, and that's the problem I have with it.
Yeah. Like we've seen Pat Bev. He's a talkative guy. He like loves to mess around with players, especially Kevin Durant. They got their own little rivalry. But he at least can contain himself while Draymond likes to flare. So I don't know.
Pat Bev also has a fun podcast to listen to.
Oh yes, he says some fun things. I think that is our meme team. All first team selection to the meme team. We're gonna move on to our next award, the Cancun coach. Which coach seems like he's already mentally in Cancun because he just doesn't know how to coach, or which coach will hopefully be there soon, as in deserves to be kicked off his current team. I'm gonna start this one off with Valentine. Who is your Cancun coach?
Well, I think there's no other than Monty Williams. We heard by a certain person in this podcast saying he was a good coach.
No, I said he was not a bad coach.
Well, that is.
Well, so did I. You said you
he's
were
a bad
defending
coach.
him. I said he wasn't bad either.
Coach right now. I think they still only have 2 wins.
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
They only have
2
2
and
wins.
24.
They have the record for this franchise of losses in a row. This is just horrible. I don't know how you can do this bad. You have some good talented players on the team. I seriously don't know what you have to do to be this bad. But clearly Monty Williams figured it out, ladies and gentlemen. So I'd like to give him a round of applause.
Well,
thank you, Monty.
So one thing about Monty, he said in the press conference the other day, he was like, I think we figured out the more we space the floor, the better we can score. And I just don't get how you didn't already know that. And the time, like that is the NBA now. You got to space the floor to score. And he's like, oh, I think we've reached. Anyway, golly. Anyway,
He must have been living under a rock or something.
And I think too, especially with him now being the Pistons coach, right? You have young guys. You want to develop the young guys. And Bojan is great. I love Bojan. He's a great player, and I think he can be a great vet for this team. But I think he also made the mistake that once Bojan came back, he cut Asor's minutes in half for the next like 3 or 4 games, so Bojan can get those minutes. You can't do that, especially to a top 5 draft pick. And then also Ivy, we've heard the complaints from Ivy and the team as well about him not getting as many minutes either. You're trying to develop this team, make them happy, develop them all, not cut some of their minutes because you have an older guy in Bojan who's great, and I think he should get minutes. But your main focus is developing the young guys, not trying to necessarily get wins.
Bojan should be traded. He should be traded because he's great.
Yeah. Well, so I think you got to have some vets at the very least. So I think Bojan should play, but yeah, not at the expense of Azor getting less minutes. Although he has started getting more minutes.
No, he has started getting more.
They started
cut when he came back.
They started using him as like kind of like a de facto big man in terms of he was a roller and he had a really good game offensively at least.
And his role has changed a lot too.
Yeah. I mean, Azor's great. Goodler Arenas made some weird comments that I'm not going to touch on because I think they're ridiculous. But
it's just a weird situation though because they're not good. No one expects them to be good, but they're horrendous. Well, for one, they shouldn't be this bad.
I expected them to be a lot better.
Yeah.
Marvin did. No one else did. Marvin's just a little bit. He's smoking some things.
I
But
bought
anyway,
some property there, you know.
Greg Popovich, right? Another bad team that are just developing young guys. He literally said, like, guys, do not bet on the Spurs. We are gonna suck. And Pistons, I think, within hopefully have the same expectations, but they're not even developing. And that's like Marvin said. How come those young guys are getting less minutes than last season? How come the Sower was looking like a rookie of the year candidate and then gets his minute cut in half?
And then like Cade hasn't had a good year at all.
Sasser was being a beast. He stopped getting
No.
minutes.
Developmental guy for the young guys. What's he doing? Developing or trying to win? Because he's failing at both. Failing. All right, a great candidate. Deacon, who is your? Did you have a Cancun coach?
Yeah. So I'm gonna also go to another bottom of the barrel East team. I'm gonna go with Wes Unseld Jr. He was kind of set up for failure this year. But not that like, you know,
Not to this extent.
yeah. But he's also just not, you know, a great coach at all, in my opinion. Yeah, there's not really an offensive system there. They've actually been doing pretty well the last couple of games, but
They beat the Pacers.
Yeah.
And Tyrese Halliburton's supposed to be so great.
Tyrese is great. Tyrese is great.
Calm down, brother. Calm down.
This dude's a hater. But yeah, I don't think he had a chance to keep his job at the beginning of the year. I think they were just like, I guess we'll just let this year play out and see what happens. So I think in terms of he's going to lose his job and he's not doing well. He's not making a case to keep it. So I think he's as good as gone.
Well said.
Anything else to discuss on Wes Unseld Jr.?
Yeah.
No. Yeah, bad situation. I guess one other thing is to detail for that is, again, he's supposed to at least develop your guys, and he seems to also maybe be not doing great at that. He's not winning, nor is he developing guys as well as he might be able to.
Koulibaly's look good.
I was about to say, I'll give him credit for giving Koulibaly some more minutes.
Yeah.
That's been
a beast.
we've been waiting for that. We've been waiting for that.
Still hasn't learned how to play Johnny Davis.
Well,
so.
Johnny Davis has been hurt, so kind of hard to play hurt guy.
Johnny
right now,
Davis
but
might get
overall,
stuck.
he hasn't played Davis much.
He is a lottery pick, and he played good in the 9 minutes per game he's averaged. So that's another very disappointing thing. It's a little weird what they're doing, but yeah, I think that describes it pretty well.
And since Wemby has moved to center, he has been really, really good. He's averaging like 17 rebounds a game.
And I think we've looked better since Sohan stopped playing.
One thing I do want Greg Popovich to change is Malachi Branham, please get him out of the starting roster.
But like y'all said,
goodness.
it's development. It's all about development. He did not expect the team to be good.
You
They're
can't
not
develop him. He sucks. He sucks. Please trade him.
he's
Let
had
someone
one
else
good
develop him.
game.
Let
He's a
someone else
second-year
develop
guy.
him.
Come on, give him a chance.
Let someone else develop him. Let someone else develop him.
Wemby.
Please. Let someone else develop him. He's bad. Let someone else develop him. I love every single person on my team except for Malachi Branham.
They said the same thing
yes.
about Drew Brees. I know it's a different sport, but
Okay, that's okay. Well, sure. Let's move on to our next award. The worst MVP. And no, not the worst guy on the MVP. No, this is the award for the best player on one of the 10 worst teams in the league, the worst 5 in the conference. Who is the best player carrying those teams to still no success? Let's get started with Marvin, who is the worst MVP candidate.
He hasn't played very minutes, games, and I think he wouldn't be eligible to actually win an award if this was a real award. But I'm going Anthony Simons. I mean, he's a baller. He was a baller last season. He's been a baller again this season. I mean, he's debatably, I don't know if it's debatably, but he's the best guy on their team. He can score in bunches at a good rate. He can pass the ball. He has Scoot Henderson as his point guard now because they put Brogdon on the bench. But he's just really fun to watch, really great player, and I could see him really taking a team far.
yeah, he and Scoot.
You can see them taking them far.
Not them, I said 18.
Okay.
Like a better I think maybe if they develop in a few years they can go farther, but I just think Simons is that player that can be that number 1 or 2 guy on a good playoff team.
He just needs Scoot Henderson to lock in.
Yeah.
That's
He's
really
been
it.
doing good though.
Yeah, his last couple of games have been pretty good. But yeah, I mean, assuming Scoot pans out, and I think he will, he and Scoot are gonna be like one of the best backcourts in the NBA for the foreseeable future.
Yeah.
I'd be very excited if I was a Blazers fan.
I would too, honestly.
Yeah.
They've got a good future.
Somewhat useless fun fact. He's only played 6 games, but he is shooting 97% free throw right now. Anthony Simons. So that's a big number. It's a big number.
That is a big
That's a good number.
a big good number.
All right, and our next worst MVP candidate it will be Deacons.
Well, I think this one for me was pretty easy. His team has not been holding up the other end of the bargain, like pretty much his entire team, except for AirPods. But I'm going with Steph Curry. He's averaging 30, pretty good efficiency, over 40% from three, obviously. His field goal percentage is kind of down, but it doesn't really matter. He's been amazing. The team has not been. They got a big win over Brooklyn the other day, but and Steph Curry was unbelievable. But Draymond, obviously he was the Tragic Bronson Award. Obviously, not Bronson. Gosh, Klay Thompson was on the meme team. He just doesn't have a whole lot of co-star supportage at the moment. We'll see if they make a move, but yeah, he's my worst MVP.
But like you said, Brandon Pajemski is a freaking beast. He got a starting position right now too.
Kaminga.
Kaminga did too, but Pajemski's actually Pajemski's just a freaking beast. I love that guy. He's so good. I was pretty high on him coming into the season, and he's finally getting the minutes that he deserves, and he's showing that he deserves them by doing everything he needs to.
Santa Clara is kind of becoming a basketball factory.
Yeah,
Jalen Williams and Pajemski in back-to-back years.
both beautiful players.
Those are awesome guys. They have beautiful players that aren't just like kind of pure scorers. They've got a really good feel for the game.
Yeah, they play the right way.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they do.
All right.
Yeah, no. But Dempsey's almost like Chris Paul where he was supposed to be. But yeah, Valentine, who is your worst MVP?
I got LaMelo Ball. When healthy, he is a beast. But that's just I feel like an issue also for him is he's gotta stay healthy. Yeah, that is a big issue for him. I guess the Ball brothers just got health issues. Staying healthy. But
Give LiAngelo a chance.
we kind of hated on him on the beginning of the season. But I think he's proved a lot of people wrong. I don't know exact stat line, but I know he had a lot of 30-point games.
Yeah. I mean, he had a stretch where he was just.
He started ice cold.
He's taken over the Hornets team. He's showing he's a leader for this team and what he can bring to the team. Wow, I think they're a really good team. Miles Bridges, Terry Rozier, and then LaMelo Ball, all healthy, are a really, really good team.
And then Mark Williams at center too.
Yeah.
They Gordon Hayward. I mean, they do have a good team, and
It's just health issues.
Health issues and coaching issues. Dude, their coaches suck.
Yeah.
They re-signed that.
I just want to say, I told you so. For my under 25 guys, LaMelo is just, and he's still getting better. He's still playing only 15 games. He's still getting better. He's still so young, dude. How old is he? He's 22 years old, and he's played 15 games this season. And he's already averaging 25 points a game, 38 point. Right? He's had a 39% 3-point percentage right now on how many attempts? On almost 9 attempts. Over 8 assists.
In fairness, I still had him on my list. He was number 10. Granted, he should have been higher, but yeah. Yeah, he's been amazing.
Mellow, baby. Mellow. Yeah, I like all those picks, and I agree with all those picks. For me, I probably have to go Steph Curry just because he's been unreal, pretty much just as good as his MVP. Not to mention he's 35 years old. That doesn't factor into the award, but impressive. Yeah. But he's pretty much playing MVP levels. Steph Curry, downtick in assists. Is that due to the fact that half of his team can't make a basket right now? Who is to say? But he is doing worse in assists, but pretty much better in every other category. That brings us to our final award, the Sophomore Award. Last year's rookies, this season. who's the best, who's kind of made the biggest leap, who's made the most improvements. I think the best is still undoubtedly the number one pick, Paulo Banchero. But I am curious as to y'all's picks. And let's get started with Marvin's sophomore candidate.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I think Paulo is the best, but I want to show some love to Keegan Murray. He was a key piece on that playoff team for the Kings last season, and he just had himself a 47-point game with 8 rebounds, shooting 12 for 15 3-pointers. This guy's amazing. We know he can shoot, and throughout this season, I've noticed he has gotten better at rebounding and even passing the ball a little bit. So it's good to see the development on him too. But I mean, like I said, a 47-point game from a second-year player shooting 15 threes and making 12 of them is insane. I just wanted to show some love for him, and I do think he is still one of the best guys in that
I don't know
draft
if
class.
y'all heard Steph Curry after his game when they told him about how Keegan Murray is playing, and at the time he was 12 for 13 on threes, and he thought it was over the game. And he was like, "That is really hard to do. Congrats to him. How is he doing right now?" And they're like, "Oh, he got subbed out." And Curry was just saying that's the exact same thing that happened to Clay. Clay had technically 18 threes against the Bulls, but he got subbed out. That's what happens every time. So it's unfortunate for Keegan because he would have had a lot more to show. But that's really impressive, and getting Curry to say that is a big accomplishment.
My one critique of Keegan is he's too passive sometimes. You know, I mean, in that 47-point game, he was just throwing everything up. But
not even. I mean, he shot 15 threes and I think 18 or 19 total shots.
Yeah.
So
I mean, which is still ridiculous efficiency, but
I mean, you kind of need that for high scoring games.
Well, unless you're like
not that efficient necessarily, but an overall efficiency.
For sure. Yeah, I mean, he was ridiculous last night. I'm still going to go Paolo. I mean, he's leading one of the best teams in the East. His scoring has been great. His three-pointers are starting to fall.
He's been absurd.
Yeah. I mean, I think he's on his way to superstardom. He may make an all-star team this year. I haven't
I don't know, but I mean, he could.
I haven't really looked at
such a phenomenal player. Honestly, you don't see anyone else like him right now.
Yeah, I mean, he's gotten those LeBron comparisons. I mean, I get the body type is similar and stuff. Obviously, the playmaking is not there, but it's the body type and like the physicality similar.
Yeah, the physicality. He's not as quick either. I feel like he plays a very slow, collected game, which sometimes bothers me, but it's overall a good thing. He looks comfortable. But he kind of almost has like a slow way, kind of like feeling his way out, which is good to see from a young guy.
Credit to the Magic.
For sure.
They've been good season.
Good.
Love the Magic. I mean, to Patrick Beverley's credit, he clearly, I mean, obviously, those guys shouldn't be top 50. They're not a good team. We can tell. I mean, number 3 in the East, not even good, right? They're only better than, I think they're better than the Sixers right now still. So, which is Patrick Beverley's team. But who is to say? Patrick Beverley knows.
They're right below the Sixers at number 4.
They just slid below them then. They were like above them like 2 days ago. But yeah. Also, Keegan Murray, guys, he was my favorite prospect of that draft. Number 4 overall pick, 225 pounds. Oh no, not 225. But yeah. Jeez, he's big. 225 pounds, 6'8". He right now is pretty much used as a pure 3-point shooter, and he's elite at that. Prime Klay Thompson comparisons already in his second year, and I feel like the guy can do so much more. Like, he's so athletic. Like, I feel like he can dribble. Like, I want to see him excel at everything. I don't know if he will, just because like he kind of has a role that he has to play with the Kings, and he's a young guy. He's accepted that, and I think that's really good for him. But I wonder if in a few seasons or in a playoff game when they need him, if he might have some big games and not just 3-point shooting. Because I think he can do a lot more.
I mean, we see him every year in the preseason or like in the summer league. He's always like the MVP because he has the green light, he has the ball in his hands, and he just puts up great numbers.
He knows how to play basketball.
I mean, that last game might have single-handedly taken him off the Pascal Siakam trade block.
Yeah, that's true.
You can't trade a guy after he just had 12 or 15 threes. But
yeah,
I wouldn't. I would not. Well, so I think our sophomore award, we agree Paolo is like the best. He should win the award. But as far as like guys are making improvements and could be up there in one of the best in that class, Keegan Murray is definitely up there without doubt. I think that sums up our quarter awards. We had some good candidates, some good awards. Comment who you think should be a candidate. Comment who you think should win the awards down below. Make sure you subscribe to see more of us. We'd really appreciate it. Floater gang out.